challenges that are facing McKinney. Now, I know, like I said, your goals may overlap because they may be in your way, but getting things done are challenges now. What do you think are the biggest concerns for McKinney?
Well, I mean, I agree. I think it's much of what we have both said. Certainly in every election year, you hear the same things. It's always, we need to broaden our commercial tax base to offset the burden on residents. We need to be more open and transparent. And that goes in line with some of the things that I think we need to accomplish. But at the very crux of it, I believe that those things do drive the importance home of how we need to communicate. I think we need to spend less time in meetings and more time involving the public in what's going on. We recently, through the sustainability department, did a conference, and we had over 200 citizens that came to give their input on what they wanted a green McKinney to look like. And I think we need to do more of that. It was very enlightening to me, as I said in different seminars, of some of the expertise that we have within our citizens that we don't tap. We so often hire consultants to come in and tell us what they think we should look like, and I think maybe our time and certainly our money would be better spent to include our citizens. I know we do that a bit through the boards and commission process, but I think we can do a better job of that. So involving our citizens, communicating, and setting those goals and keeping focused on those goals and knocking them out one project at a time. And I think being very intentional about that will take us forward the next 20 years.
Okay, so your question is, what are the biggest challenges facing McKinney at this time? Well, I think it would be kind of like the elephant in the room to not acknowledge that money is an issue. We're coming out of the worst recession since the Great Depression, and by Wall Street standards, we're in a recovery, so we're no longer in that recession. But as property tax values are inching up, you all probably, how many of you saw a decrease in your value of your home in recent? Okay, so everybody basically. So that ends up affecting our city budget because our revenues come in through by virtue of property tax values to a large part. So money's an issue. Secondly, one of the most important responsibilities that's at the city lies with our CEO, and that's our city manager. And we've had a transition after a critical review in 2010, about this time last year. Our former city manager left, so as was just mentioned, Jason Gray started with the city on March 21st, so he's fresh. But this city, this community, has got to have a strong CEO at City Hall, a Pied Piper sort of leader, where everyone else wants to lockstep, join in and follow and march behind and accomplish. See, the CEO takes the policy of the council and translates that, executes that in terms of the actionables. And so if you have a council that says, here's our policy, but you don't have a city governance or a city model that allows those policy issues to be accomplished, then you're not as effective, you're not firing on all cylinders. So I think that's a challenge, but also a pretty important an opportunity. I frame it as both. And then future development, I mentioned that as a goal, but I'll also say it's a challenge. What do we want the rest of our city to look like? And are we willing to make, if there's changes on tap, are we willing to make those changes? And can we get consensus? Again, I do think communication is important as we set our vision. I'm a communication consultant. I mean, that's what I do. So I think it's important that we not only revisit our vision, which we're currently doing as a council, but we communicate that vision to the city. And the city as a whole, I think our community wants to embrace it. What do we want to be when we grow up? What does that look like? And I think we need to communicate those issues, and we need to take action to making sure that we get there. You know the old adage, if you don't know where you're going, the road will take you there. Or here's another one, fire, ready, aim. You want to be ready, you want to have a good plan, and you want to work the plan. So I think those are both challenges and opportunities. I mean, I look across this room and I see, like, Laura, you were involved in, was it the census or the bond committee?
The bond committee.
The bond committee. Several of you have stepped up and you've been engaged in different city efforts. I would encourage you, there are 18 boards and commissions that we have, and that process is going to be open this summer. So I would just encourage you to put your name forward, go online and look at all the possibilities to get involved. And thank you, Laura, for serving on the bond committee. We had a census committee this year that was staffed with, I think Myra, did Myra serve on the census?
Maybe so.
I think she was on the census committee, Myra Cisneros. But lots of opportunities. We live and breathe through citizen involvement on our boards and commissions and on our committees. So certainly encourage you to step out and get involved as well.
Carolyn, same thing. You're going to answer first, or take a drink of water?
Okay. Take a drink of water. Thank
Yeah,
you.
take a drink of water. The third question that we got, we're going to kind of customize it a little bit, but
Okay.
in council meetings and development,
Mhm.
when you're having those meetings and discussions, with Craig Ranch being obviously a master plan community with not only residential, but a great amount of commercial activity coming in, hospitals, recreation activities and all that, being such a big part of maybe of the future of McKinney, how does that, in your discussions and things, how does Craig Ranch fit in all that when you're looking forward to plans?
Craig Ranch is roughly, I think, 4,200 acres. David Craig, is that right?
2200.
Oh, 22, sorry. I had it doubled.
We haven't closed on that piece yet.
Okay.
It's coming.
Sorry. 2,200 acres, okay. It carries the acronym REC. Have y'all heard that about Craig Ranch is an area known as the REC? Yeah, who has not heard that acronym before? Raise your hand. Okay. It's been designated and was designated years ago, long before I was ever around the council table, as the REC, and that stands for Regional Employment Center of McKinney. So to your point, it's huge. It was planned to be and is primed to be the area in our city where we concentrate on bringing corporations in that provide an option for folks to live and work here. So I think we just discussed the corporate center. That's, I think, low-hanging fruit is, and council's very much aware of the possibility, potential, and marketability of the Craig Ranch area for attracting a corporate presence. So in the short term, I think that everybody's kind of put that goal on the map, and we're just going to see how we can try to push forward to make that happen. I think we've just got to be continually focused on doing whatever we can do to assist the development community at Craig Ranch to attracting corporate development and commercial development and amenities that support this idea of new urbanism. We've got the residents here, we've got the workers here, we've got the land here, we've got the will here to want to develop, so we just need to execute, in my mind. Okay.
I talked about some things a little earlier that I think are pivotal, but as we look at that 2,200 acres, 60% of that is zoned commercial. And with the proximity to the Sam Rayburn Tollway, it's huge opportunities for development. And that helps all of us. So whatever can be done from a council and city perspective to help Craig Ranch take off to ultimately increase their commercial development, to ease that tax burden on the rest of McKinney could be really, really huge. I think it's imperative that the corporate center designation happen as soon as possible, and I think there are opportunities to partner with Craig Ranch and other entities. Craig Ranch is a very large part of District 2. about 25%, 25 to 24, 26%, something like that of District 2. So it's huge, but it's not all of District 2. It is such an anomaly in that it has the opportunity with the great planning that was put into place, that we can follow that plan, work with the partners that David's already working with to bring the industry to Craig Ranch in the whole live, work, new urbanism environment that it has. I think certainly Craig Ranch has opportunity. We all heard Frisco is the #1 place in Texas for athletic facilities and whatever. I think Craig Ranch has the opportunity to do that, and I think we need to communicate that well, certainly in partnerships with our existing tourism department. They're looking for something to sell. In absence of that 3 or 4-star hotel, they spend a lot of time marketing sports facilities. I think the opportunity for the hotel and conference center that I believe will be built in Craig Ranch and adjacent to the TPC will be really big, and I'm anxious to see how that works with the rest of McKinney, because certainly that's a need and something that we're looking at for the Gateway side as well. So I think it's big, I think it's important, I think it's working the plan, and as I look around McKinney, things are happening in Craig Ranch, dirt is flying in Craig Ranch, and I'm not seeing that. So let's put some more focus on it from a city perspective and see what we can do to come along and partner and help things happen.
Y'all ready to take some questions?
Absolutely.
All right.
Smile.
David?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you, Tracy and Geraldine, for coming. I wish we had a bigger group, but a Saturday morning, vast majority of our residents have kiddos. And those of you that are here that don't know me, I'm David Craig, the founder of Craig Ranch and the master developer of Craig Ranch. And so I'm going to get right to the heart of it. Typically, I stay out of the politics. I've learned that that's not necessarily a good thing for me as a developer. But I really felt and feel the time to get out there and discuss the issues for Craig Ranch in the city of McKinney is now. Having said that, for those of you that are residents, and the good thing is this is going to be streamed, so you'll be able to go online and see what the answers were. Good news is we just did an economic impact or look back, 10-year look back of Craig Ranch, and Craig Ranch baseline ad valorem is $600 million today, of which about $200 million is commercial tax base, which represents 5.7% of the entire commercial tax base of the city of McKinney. And we've just gotten started. So my question is, and we are not in the MISD, we're in the Frisco ISD. And Allen ISD, but very little of Allen ISD, which is from Elma back east. So the vast majority of our zoning, which is residential, is Frisco ISD, about 95% of it. So having said that, here's the question for both candidates. Do you agree that districts are set up to address issues of the district, and that the representative of the district should be supportive of the opportunities of the district, and in fact should champion key projects within the district? Because what we're here for today is representation